been the most abject failure of any
WHO is being blamed that they were not doing their job properly. They did not give the right information on time. That is why it has become a global pandemic. On the other hand, there are speculations that WHO and China have close relationships. That's why they covered up the information. So can we blame WHO or China in this scenario?
Absolutely, we should blame. Why not? See, if you look at the facts, right? WHO has acted like the Chinese Health Organization rather than acting as the World Health Organization. Now, the first case in China was reported much before. It was somewhere reported, if I'm not wrong, end of December. WHO till starting of January did not impose travel restrictions from Wuhan. So people from Wuhan were allowed to travel to different parts of the world. Despite the WHO team had to go to China in early January or end of December, they delayed it. The WHO did not give guidelines on masks. It was the different governments saying that wearing mask is compulsory. Now, with respect to this current WHO chief, he's acting more like a behest in the, of the Chinese government. He was the previous health minister in Ethiopia. When he was the health minister, he was alleged to give a lot of contract to the Chinese. Now, in his election, he's the first. If I'm not wrong, he's the first WHO chief who does not actually have a degree, an official degree in health, and he got disposed by the backing of China in a huge way. So it has not even blamed China in one of these circulars. So imagine this: if this virus was not originated from China and it would have been originated from, say, an African country, you would have gone all berserk. So WHO has to be blamed. Completely blame. It took ages for WHO to advise people for a lockdown. It was countries who took the decision on their own. So this has been a colossal failure of the WHO in entirety. Still, at this moment, when this virus has gone from the bats to the humans, the bat market in China is functioning. Why is it functioning? Why has the WHO not issued any condemnation of that? There has been not even one circular which has blamed the Chinese. This has been the most unfortunate part, people. I think WHO has lost its credibility in a big way. That's why you see United States of America taking away its funding. And that is why I say that the world is moving away from multilateralism to gated globalization. So, yes, you need to blame WHO, and because it is personal, it as an institution is responsible. Had the WHO and the Chinese taken care of about this in December, 99% of the cases would have been prevented. So yes, this virus has come from China. This is because of the negligence of the WHO, and we have to call a spade a spade. Because of this lacks of, imagine people in Europe, in Italy. Majority of the Italians, the areas where the virus started to take place, it was because of this campaign started by one of their governors called as Hug a Chinese campaign. So there was apprehensions in Italy that this virus has come to Italy, and the governor, the Chinese has a huge control in Italy because majority of the leather industry in Italy is owned by the Chinese. And first they used to have Italian workers working there. Now it's the Chinese workers who are working there. So they've imperialized entire Italy. So they started a campaign called as Hug a Chinese campaign. Now imagine when the virus is spreading, the message which is going in that Hug a Chinese. That is why this is the primary reason why Italy went into colossal failure, massive deaths reported. And what was WHO doing at that time is what all of us need to ask. In fact, WHO had to come up with guidelines with respect to masks ages back. It has not come up. It did not come out with anything to do with how much ventilators or anything. Nothing. It's only countries who are doing on their own. In fact, hydroxychloroquine guideline was also not given by WHO. So it is it has been the most abject failure of any institution in the past history which I have seen.
Yeah, it failed to fulfill its sole purpose for which it was
when SARS, sorry Aakriti to interrupt you, when 2002-03 when SARS had happened, the then WHO chief had issued travel guideline restrictions against China. She had publicly issued a notification condemning the Chinese role because in 2003 or 4 the SARS was also spread because of Chinese negligence. But right now, imagine that if this virus, the source of this virus is COVID-19 traces bats, how can Chinese bat markets, the wet bat markets, still continue to function? This is as abject failure as it can get.
In fact, it is not even wrong to go to an extent and say that WHO tried to change the name of the virus. It was called the Wuhan
Yes,
virus or the Chinese virus. They spent a lot of time changing the name and making it COVID-19 novel virus, which
true.
did not make sense. They should be doing all these things, taking care of people and generating guidelines.
Absolutely. In fact, the world is being cautious. The world is paying a price for letting an unchecked imperialist, state capitalist, not non-democratic China grow. There is no check on China. It is absolutely a non-transparent country. There is no democracy in this country, and it has used all its means. There is a book which is written by two of the Chinese military generals in the past, that conquering the world by 2050. And this is what the Chinese are trying to do. You tell me,
Right.
most of the masks supplied by the Chinese are defective. The equipments, the PPE kits which they tried to supply it were defective. So
Quality equipment.
the time has come that the world stands up to this Chinese bully and calls a spade a spade. And it is time that we take care of China, because if the world does not do so, I think the next time the world will not have time to even respond.